What kind of rookie turns down $2 million before even playing a single down? Not to negotiate, not to stall, just no. That rookie is Shedeur Sanders, and he didn't just make headlines, he flipped the entire NFL playbook on its head. With one quiet, calculated move, he did something no agent, executive, or endorsement deal expert ever saw coming. He rewrote the rules before he ever stepped onto the field. This wasn't some flashy flex. It was a message. I don't need your check. If I already own the bank. Shedeur turned down an offer that most rookies would have sprinted toward. But what was wild wasn't the amount. It was why he said no. Because tucked inside another deal with Gatorade was something different, an equity clause. A rookie didn't just want cash, he wanted a stake. Ownership, control, leverage. And just like that, he exposed the uncomfortable truth the NFL didn't want you to see. The system only works when players are desperate, when they'll settle for crumbs, smile for the cameras, and stay in line. But Shedeur? He walked in, looked at the contract, and basically said, "Cute offer, do better." That wasn't arrogance, that was clarity. He knows his value, he knows his cultural reach, and most frightening to the old guard, he knows he doesn't need the system to become a superstar. This wasn't just a rejection, it was a revolution in cleats. And now, behind the scenes, execs are scrambling, agents are rewriting pitch decks, and every rookie in the league is starting to ask, if Shedeur said no, why can't I? What you're about to witness isn't a scandal. It's not even a negotiation, it's a movement. And we're only on Chapter 1. Shedeur Sanders didn't just decline a $2 million offer, he detonated it. Before throwing a single pass in the NFL, before even running his first pro drill, Shedeur made a decision that knocked executives off balance and silenced entire boardrooms. Gatorade came to the table, reportedly offering a clean check, $2 million to slap on the logo, smile for cameras, post a few clips. Nothing new, nothing crazy, except this time, the rookie flipped the script. Instead of nodding and signing like most rookies, Shedeur pushed back with an equity clause. Not cash up front, ownership, stake, skin in the game. The clause reportedly stated that he wasn't just there to be a face on a bottle. He wanted a piece of everything built off his name, a seat at the table, not just a polished chair to sit in. And when the deal didn't meet that level of vision, he walked. No tantrum, no scandal, just business. The league didn't know what to make of it. Executives whispered. Commentators speculated. Agents pulled out calculators and stared at their phones like they'd missed something huge. Because make no mistake, they had. This wasn't about money. It was about control. Shedeur wasn't thinking like a rookie. He was thinking like an entrepreneur. The kind of mind that doesn't chase the check immediately, because it's chasing ownership forever. One simple word turned an endorsement deal into a national conversation. No. No to being underpaid. No to being positioned as a pawn. No to playing the grateful rookie role. With that one refusal, Shedeur didn't just protect his value, he exposed everyone else's lack of vision. Now, every brand, every agent, every team knows, if you're coming for Shedeur Sanders, you better bring more than a check. Most rookies come into the NFL just happy to be here, smiling through press conferences, grateful for the opportunity, hustling for their next check, their next snap, just trying to serve. But Shedeur Sanders, he's not moving like a rookie. He's moving like a boardroom disruptor in shoulder pads. He didn't see a $2 million check and think, I made it. He saw a limit, a ceiling, and decided that wasn't his reality. Because Shedeur's not chasing the bag anymore. He's building the bank, and the banks are starting to panic. He's not just stacking highlight reels, he's stacking strategies, equity, brand control, personal real estate in every deal. He's approaching partnerships like a venture capitalist with cleats, not a kid desperate for attention. Let's be clear, this isn't just independence, it's infrastructure. Shedeur's already mastered his image. His merch moves numbers. His social media outpaces most brands. His highlights generate millions of views before he's even drafted. He doesn't need traditional media to validate him. He is the media. Why sell the cookies when you own the bakery? That's the energy he's bringing. This is the kind of mindset that terrifies executive offices. Because if one rookie can do this, what's stopping 10 more from following him? And now, the old system's starting to crack. Because when a 20-something walks into the league carrying brand value, cultural weight, and a fully armed business model, he's not playing their game anymore. He's rewriting it. Shedeur isn't just setting himself up to play football. He's setting himself up to run an empire. And maybe eventually run this entire game off the field too. For decades, the NFL's rookie playbook didn't involve plays. It involved compliance. You get drafted, you smile, you sign, you shut up. That's how it's always been. Rookies were supposed to be grateful, not powerful. They took what was given, followed orders, waited in line, and paid their dues like it was part of some sacred ritual. And the league loved it like that. Quiet rookies who didn't question the system, didn't challenge the money, didn't think too far ahead. But then, Shedeur Sanders walked in. And in less than a paragraph, he tore that entire manual to shreds. He turned down $2 million before even throwing an NFL pass. Not because he's arrogant, not because he doesn't need the money, but because he refused to play by 50-year-old rules designed to keep young players in check. That wasn't bold. That was strategic disruption. And the reaction? Chaos. Executives baffled. Agents stunned, teams scrambling, because they never planned for a rookie who already knows his worth. The old system thrives when players are broke, silent, and fearful of losing the opportunity. That's how they're controlled. That's how they're underpaid. That's how they're branded before they even get a chance to define themselves. But Shedeur? He walked into the NFL with platforms, brand equity, leverage, and most importantly, a choice. Choice is what the NFL never expected. They expected another grateful athlete clinging to his shot. Instead, they got a walking business, a man who doesn't need their approval to shine. And now, the old playbook isn't outdated. It's obsolete. Because once a rookie breaks the rules and thrives, others start to wonder, why are we still following them? Somewhere right now, a marketing exec is staring at a PowerPoint presentation titled Athlete Partnerships Crisis Response. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't just turn down a check, he punked the entire ad game. The same game that's been built for decades on the assumption that rookies would do anything to get a brand deal. Smile for the camera, wear the product, read the script, and say, I've always been a fan of this sports drink. But Shedeur? He said no, loudly, publicly, intentionally. And in doing that, he left an entire generation of brand teams shaking in their Laurel Piana loafers. The panic wasn't about losing one endorsement, it was about losing control. Because they didn't just lose a quarterback, they lost the narrative. You can almost hear the chaos behind the scenes. Execs sweating through $1,000 blazers, interns refreshing their social dashboards, PR teams spinning out half-baked statements trying to soften the blow. Why? Because Shedeur proved something terrifying to traditional advertising. Athletes don't need brands anymore, at least not in the old way. With one Instagram story, Shedeur can move more product than most companies can with a national ad campaign. With one tweet, he turns a hoodie drop into a cultural moment. He's not talent, he's distribution. And for brands used to buying power and influence, this is an existential threat. Shedeur didn't take their money, he took away their illusion that they were the kingmakers. Now they're scrambling to figure out how to deal with athletes who don't want to play the fame for rent game anymore. And trust me, this storm isn't about what Shedeur lost. It's about what the industry just realized they'll never get back. Before Shedeur Sanders, there was a script every rookie followed. Get drafted, keep your head down, be thankful, take whatever crumbs are thrown your way. An endorsement here, A half-decent deal there, and pray the next big check comes after you prove yourself. That script is dead now, because when Shedeur said no to a guaranteed $2 million, he didn't just reject a deal. He rejected the entire concept of starting from the bottom when you're already carrying your brand at the top. Shedeur didn't come into the league asking for a seat. He came in already building the table. And if you listen closely, you can already hear it happening. Young players across the country rocking their own logos, building their own platforms, talking to agents less like clients and more like partners. Why? Because Shedeur made something crystal clear. Leverage isn't something you earn, it's something you claim. This wasn't some media stunt. It was a surgical strike, dropping right as training camps heat up, when media is hungry for rookie drama. Timing this perfectly was no accident. This was marketing, strategy, narrative control. Old school GMs are clenching their fists behind closed doors thinking, who does this kid think he is? But that's the point. Shedeur isn't just a kid. He's not saying no out of arrogance. He's saying no because he knows exactly what he's worth. And maybe for the first time in league history, a rookie is acting like it. Now, every new player walking into the NFL has to decide, do I take what I'm offered, or do I move like I'm the offering? Once the headlines dropped and the dust started to settle, the pushback came in fast and predictable. Arrogant, entitled, too flashy, not focused, thinks he's bigger than the game. It's the same tired formula they roll out anytime an athlete, especially a young black athlete, dares to step outside the checklist. Ask Cam Newton, ask Lamar Jackson, ask LeBron. Confidence from certain players doesn't get labeled as leadership. It gets called a problem. But let's be real. Was Shedeur Sanders really being difficult? Or was he just aware? Aware that the system only works if you stay in your place. Aware that contracts aren't designed for your prosperity, but for control. Aware that legacy isn't built by nodding politely, it's built by drawing your own blueprint. Turning down money isn't the issue. Rookies have been doing that for years, quietly, renegotiating for a few thousand more. But Shedeur made it loud. He put it in the spotlight. And that's what burned the gatekeepers. He moved public, confident, and unapologetic. He didn't hide behind PR fluff. He didn't downplay his worth. He played chess while everyone expected checkers. That's not immaturity. That's media strategy. So when critics screamed, "You just ruined your future," they weren't really worried about Shedeur's pockets. They were worried about what happens if everyone starts doing what he just did. Because it's not about attitude, it's about agency. And that scares the system more than anything. Because the truth is, Shedeur didn't break a rule. He just refused to kneel to it. Here's the part the critics always miss. Shedeur Sanders isn't chasing a check. He's chasing control. Long-term, full-scale, legacy level. Anyone can sign a deal, flash some cash, go viral for a day. But Shedeur didn't want a quick headline. He wanted to own the printing press. He knows the game, not just football, the real game, business, branding, and cultural leverage. While most rookies are begging for crumbs from the table, he's out building the entire kitchen. This isn't about a flashy rejection. It's about designing something bigger than him, something that lasts. Shedeur's not just saying no to bad contracts. He's saying yes to future freedom. He's building lanes for athletes who come after him. The kind of move that won't just be remembered as a moment, but as a blueprint. And that's the legacy play most rookies don't even know they can make. Forget the comfortable route. He could have taken the easy money, smiled for sponsors, slapped together a few safe interviews, and clocked in like a brand-friendly athlete. But instead, he risked criticism for cultural power. That's not ego, that's legacy thinking. Because the real influencers don't just take roles, they choose how they're remembered. And already, you've got young athletes watching, learning, questioning, if Shedeur can move like this, why can't they? Why settle for less when ownership is an option? He doesn't want to be owned by a brand. He wants to be the reason a brand exists. He doesn't want a percentage for wearing the logo. He wants his name on the paperwork that wrote the deal. That's an empire move. That's confidence rooted in vision. And while the world debates whether he's a problem, the truth is, he's the prototype. First it was Shedeur. Next, who knows? But the floodgates are open, because when one rookie turns down millions and walks away without blinking, the entire system starts shaking. Not just in the NFL, but across every major sport. Every young athlete watching from locker rooms, training camps, college dorms, and Instagram streams is suddenly asking a dangerous question. What if I said no too? What if they stopped accepting lowball deals just to say they made it? What if their first priority wasn't a flashy endorsement, but ownership? What if the blueprint wasn't giving your image to a brand, but building your own? That's the domino effect Shedeur just started. This isn't a one-off headline. It's not a marketing stunt. It's a shift in mindset, a rebellion happening in real time. Agents are watching, executives are on edge, veterans are starting to reevaluate deals they signed years ago. If rookies walk in with leverage, why shouldn't they renegotiate too? And that's what truly rattles the league and the brands attached to it. Because it's not the loud ones you need to fear. It's the smart ones who can inspire everyone else to get louder. Shedeur didn't just flip the game. He handed athletes the instructions and said, here's how you do it. Now, imagine this spreading. NBA rookies refusing marketing deals unless they include creative control. College athletes entering leagues with fan bases already built. Global soccer prospects saying equity or nothing. That's not a revolution waiting to happen. That's one already in motion. And Shedeur may be the first athlete to spark it this loudly, but he won't be the last. The athletes are waking up. And the system? It's about to find out what happens when the talent stops asking for permission and starts demanding power. This wasn't just a headline. It wasn't a flex. It wasn't even about $2 million. What Shedeur Sanders did was deeper than money. He planted a flag in the center of the sports world and said one thing the system was never ready to hear. I don't need you to be me. That's the revolution. For decades, athletes were expected to play along, show up, smile, be thankful, take the check, and say yes. Whether the contract respected them or not, that was the game behind the game. Control wasn't just about dollars. It was about keeping talent in tight boxes with polished labels. But then a rookie came along, already profitable, already popular, already powerful, and he said no. Not out of ego, out of understanding, out of clarity, out of a blueprint built on something most players don't dare ask for: ownership over their own story. And as much as the league, the brands, or the old guard wants to deny it, the damage is already done. The illusion has cracked. Because now, rookies know they're worth more. They see the crumbs for what they really are: distractions. They see the shiny offers for what they hide: chains. And most importantly, they see someone like Shedeur say no, and they realize they can too. Executives will scramble, commentators will complain, old school fans will clutch their pearls and call it arrogance. But behind all that noise, a message is spreading like wildfire. You don't have to follow the old rules to win. What Shedeur sparked isn't just a cultural moment, it's a movement. And the real panic? It's not that he turned down money. It's that every athlete who comes next might just do the same. So to the leagues, the brands, and the boardrooms, buckle up. The age of leverage has arrived.